So, hello and welcome to the Passenger Seat Podcast. Podcast designed to fill your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. I'm Becca, and today I'm sat on the rally field at the MMOC National Rally at Kelmarsh for 2022. It's my first full MMOC rally, and hopefully you'll have seen my podcast as kind of what we've been up to. But much like the Singer Owners Club event that we went to a few weeks ago, I thought it'd be nice to interview a few people in the back of Peggy about their experiences over the weekend. Everyone seemed to quite enjoy that podcast, so we're hoping you'll be loving this podcast too. So, without further ado, let's get some people in the back of Peggy and see what they've got to say about their weekend, their cars, and their experiences as classic car owners. So we're back in Peggy with Ellie Baker, who is Gold Seal Goodness 68 on Instagram, so you can find him there. And he's been hanging out with the young members all weekend with us. So first national.
Yeah, first national as an adult.
Yep.
I came here ages ago, probably about 10, 12 years ago as a child with my mum and dad, but no, first with my own car as well.
Yep.
So
and she made it here.
She made it. Fingers crossed she makes it back.
Yep. You've got quite a bit of oil purchased from the auto jumper, so you'll be fine.
ESM are very happy with me.
Yep, so, brilliant.
Yeah.
So, what got you to buy a Morris Minor in the first place?
Insurance.
Insurance,
and also the fact they are very easy to work on. And my dad has had one since the 80s. Well, had one in the 80s, has another one now, and he's got a lot of knowledge to work on them. So
yeah, it's really handy when you know someone or live with someone who is able to help with you getting used to working on the cars, for sure.
Or annoying you.
So what do you own currently?
A 1968 Morris Minor that is rusty and it's blue. It's got 4 doors. And it's called... Here we go. I should remember this, but I don't because I don't call it often. Allison, that's it.
Allison. Is that a name that it came with, is it?
No, it never came with a name, so I just thought Allison suited it best.
Nice. What was it that made you go for that particular Morris? Was it just kind of timing or...?
Yeah, it was definitely timing because I was looking around for ages. I went up and saw some at Matthewson's. They had this really rusty 4-door there, and we didn't go for it in the end, and it went for way too much. Then there was another one in my local area, a black 56 split screen, and they wanted 2,000 for it, but again, it had basically no B pillar in it, and you really need something safe.
Especially as your first car with your learning, getting the best one that you can start with, and then you might need to do a few bits, but it's better to have something that's pretty good to start with, and then as things go, you can start working on them, because you've had to do a bit of work on it recently.
Oh yeah, I mean the most recent bit of work has been involving me taking the head off and regrinding my valve seats because, well, they were leaking a slight bit, and also I blew my head gasket going down the not the M1, the local bypass. So that was an experience.
It is all experiences. What is your favourite story that you've got from having the car?
God. I don't know, because I haven't really driven it as much as I should have done, but I think favourite is probably going to the Manchester meet.
The big bus meet.
Yeah, the big bus meet. Yeah. Because that was the real first test with it, and I was really scared of it, and I was like, oh God, am I going to make it? Am I going to not? And
it's such a sense of achievement when you get there, isn't it?
And then what was nice though is that's the drive back, because I went through Stockport because it was really busy around there, and it's like a test for me as well because I only passed my test a month before, and I was like, I'll do it. I'll get through Stockport. I'll be with the city drivers, and I hope I get through there. And it was quite stressful as well because by that point, my prop shaft was rattling as anything, so that needed replacing. So it's like stop and go, and then a problem that's still with it is its clutch, because that's now going as well. So
they're ongoing projects all of the time,
ongoing projects.
So first national, first time up camping with the young members and everything. What's been a highlight of the weekend for you?
I think just talking to everyone, getting to know everyone properly. I mean, I feel now that I feel like I've known for years now. It's a really strange feeling.
It's very immersive, isn't it?
Yeah. Even though I've really known them for a couple of days at most, I feel like we're all one big happy family now. So
It's amazing how car clubs can do that to
know.
people, and also waking up very bleary and peering out of tents and being like, is everyone still alive this morning? Did we get blown away?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the case with me this year because I've got a very small pop tent. Very small tent. All 6'1" of me managed to fit in that tent. So
we're quite impressed. Yeah,
and I'm impressed it's not got any rain in it.
Yeah,
that was very impressive.
But it's giving you loads of luggage space in the rest of your car.
Exactly. Because I have to take on my parents' luggage space as well. So.
Well, it's been great speaking to you, Elliot. Yeah. Thank you ever so much for coming on the podcast.
No problem.
And happy motoring.
You too.
We've dragged Nathaniel Tegg in off of the rally field now. He's parked next to us on the Young Members stand in Sarah, and he's come all the way down from Newcastle in it this weekend. Quite a trip for you on the way down.
Yeah, you could say so. It certainly was a long journey. It was about 7 hours with some breaks in between.
And, but you had a co-pilot that helped you on the way down.
My chauffeur drove the most of all of the M1, and then I just did the last 20 minutes.
Because you're using Sarah to learn to drive.
I am, yes, yeah. I'm still on learner plates, so I'm learning to drive in Sarah.
And how are you finding it?
I've loved driving in Sarah. I think it's really a good experience, particularly for like the brakes, because I've still got the original brakes in.
Yeah.
So obviously that makes you a lot safer because you have to predict.
You're thinking a lot more about like what's coming up, what's happening, like and hazard perception and stuff is a whole other thing in a classic car.
So it makes it a lot. I think once, because I'm not gonna unfortunately like do my test in Sarah, I'll just use another car. But I think that will give me some really good experience.
Yeah.
In driving a classic car, but either way, after I pass my test, whenever that may be, I will use it as my daily.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Fantastic. So this is your first national weekend.
It is, yes.
How are you finding it?
I'm loving it. It's honestly been such an amazing experience. Like seeing all sorts of cars, not just Morris Minors.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of variety here actually. For a Morris Minor Owners Club event, we've obviously got the Land Crabs having their national. We've got some of the MVA vehicles here as well, and even our stand's got a few variations on it this year.
It does, yes, yeah. I just really like seeing all the different cars. It's just nice to see everyone's really friendly.
Yeah.
And it's just been really, really fun.
And you've been camping with us up in the Young Members camping since Friday.
Yeah.
How have you found bringing all the camping gear and stuff in the car?
Fine. It honestly was not a problem. Like I didn't feel any difference in like the handling or anything. Well, you have to ask my chauffeur Martin about how it went. But honestly, when I was doing the A14, it was fine. There was no difference.
And you've got a 4-door that makes filling the back a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Whereas we've got to like pull the seats forward and shuffle everything in.
Honestly, yeah, it was really helpful just being able to just chuck stuff in. But you get a lot. I was really surprised about how much stuff you could get in Sarah, because I really didn't think that
they're really practical cars for being able to fit quite a lot of stuff in.
Yeah, for being so small.
Yeah,
like they fit so much in. It's really, really useful.
No.
Yeah, we fit like 2 tents in, all of our like sleeping bags, beds.
And a hedgehog.
Yeah, and a hedgehog as well.
Yeah.
So
hedgehog came down for the weekend and been roaming around in the Young Members camp.
Yes, yeah. She sure has.
And she's enjoyed her first national as well.
I think so. Yes. Yeah, she's currently sleeping it off, but yeah, she's
as expected. I think we'd all like to be. It's Sunday and we're feeling it, I think.
Yeah, so it's definitely are. But yeah, it's the camping with all the Young Members has been really nice. It's just been really.
What's been
chilled.
your highlight of the whole weekend?
I think definitely when we went out on our little Young Members drive. That was really nice. It was an experience.
Yes, that was quite a challenging course.
Yeah, for all of us. But yeah, no, it was really, really fun. Well, it was just nice to go round somewhere a bit different and get off the site just for a mix-up. in scenery, and that
it's really nice. I think we should try and do that in future. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
breaks up the days a bit as well.
I agree, and it was just nice to like just go out, see everyone like driving, because you don't really see us all like driving
just up and down the
here,
field
because
all
we're coming and going.
Yeah.
So it was just nice to all get together and go out for a nice drive.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
And what's like one really special memory or really funny memory that you've had with owning a classic car?
The funniest memory was when the carburettor, like, so I had the engine serviced at a garage.
Yeah.
And they obviously didn't have a very good idea of how Sarah's carburettor worked, because they turned the idling speed like way down, so it was
down.
running, yeah.
No.
So we were driving along, and it was rush hour, and on the high street where we live, and she just kept going with the clutch down, just stalling.
Yes.
And every time, and then she just wouldn't turn on, and I managed to turn her back on, and then just like swing her into a side road, and I was like, "What's gone on?" This was only a few months into it, so I hadn't really had the knowledge.
Yeah.
And stuff, and I was just like, "What's going on? Has something failed?" But I contacted my local branch, and they were like, "Oh, it probably." They had a look, and they said, "Oh, it was just the screw," of all things to have like happened. Yeah. But it's happened again. But at least I know what's gone on, like in changing the idling
Weirdly,
speed.
Peggy came with a very low idling speed when I first got home. So when I took her out for my first drive, every set of traffic lights I got to, it was stalled it, and because it was literally my first day driving it, I thought I was a really bad driver.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I've just got to get used to it. And then I spoke to my dad, and he took it out for a drive, and he was like, no, that's not quite right. It's not on you. So that was, it's nice to know. But you do panic and you do worry.
Yeah, definitely. It was, but then obviously when I adjusted the idling speed myself, like just doing the screw, you could certainly, there was so much difference. It's not happened again.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you for sitting in and speaking with us.
That's absolutely fine.
I'll let you get on with the rest of your national weekend. And in the meantime, happy motoring and a good trip back.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we've dragged Liam Murphy into
kicking and screaming
to the first Morris Minor you've been in all year.
I think it is the first Morris Minor. I've actually not been in a Morris Minor for quite a long time.
And considering between you and Beth, you own 3 Morris Minors.
At the moment, yes. Yeah, but they're all rotten, so because that happens with Morris Minors, they just turn into rust. So
yeah, don't mention rust right now. You're sat on top of a hole, but we'll talk about.
That's Morris Minors.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, great.
So, what got you into classic car owning?
So I first had a Morris Minor as the first car. That sort of got me into it. It was affordable when I was a student, and I was looking at the prices of like courses, and the insurance was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was just so much more accessible. And this was in 2014. It's quite a long time ago. And then around about the same time, my nan had passed away. And we were looking through a box, boxes of old photos, as you do when these things happen. And I found this photograph of my nan with this weird wooden car. I was like, what's this? Why is it wood? And my granddad explained, oh, that's a Morris Minor.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been totally hooked on them. And, we've got, between me and my partner, we've now got 3. So
that's so weird, because I bought Peggy with some inheritance from my gran who had passed away. And when I did it, I told my uncles that that's what I'd spent the money on. And they then came back to me and said, well, one of those was your nan's first car as well.
Oh, wow.
So she'd used it to learn to drive. And my 2 older uncles remember sitting in the back and their feet being able to go through the floor because it had rotted.
Right, there was no inheritance. I bought it from making money selling drugs. But
but then they sent me photos of her with a Morris Minor as well that they dug out when, again, she'd passed away not that long ago.
That's lovely. And I think that's a really nice thing about Morris Minors in particular, is that they're so relatable to so many people.
You never don't get stopped and asked.
I mean, if I had £1 today for every time somebody had said, "Oh, my nan used to have one of those," I'd have £4. And so many people's family did have them, and they're such an important mark to British history, but also in the lives of people in the last, however many years in Britain.
Yeah.
A massive staple in that story.
So alongside your original Morris Minor that you still have, what else have you got in terms of cars now?
What have I got right now?
Yeah.
So we've got a 1979 MG Midget.
It's on the stand today.
We've brought it here this weekend, yep. It's very low, very fast, very noisy. It's not very fast, it's just very noisy.
It goes out once a year.
It's the best way I know of turning fuel into fun.
Yep.
I've got a 1982 Bedford ambulance, which we've converted into a camper van. So that's what I did in lockdown.
Yep.
As I was furloughed, sort of, and spent 6 months building this turning. So we found it in a hedge, dragged it out of the hedge.
Yeah.
And pressure washed it off, and we had some chassis plates custom made for it, laser cut and bent. That was the only thing it needed welding wise, so we just did those on the front chassis legs. The rest of it was fine, and turned it into a camper.
A lot of it's fiberglass.
It's the shell is 2 fiberglass skins sandwiched together.
So that works well for it being
great.
in a bush.
Yeah,
in
perfect.
terms of surviving.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah, it has survived really well. So
yeah.
We've got that, and we've got two other. My partner's got two not Land Rovers. Why did I say Land Rovers? We've got that.
You're just thinking about them.
I'm thinking about Land Rovers. My partner's got 2 Morris Minors of her own. She's got a Traveller and a Saloon. And we have had loads of other interesting little things over the year. We also had the Austin 7 that was in the Classic Car Loan project.
Yeah.
So we spent a year driving around at 30 miles an hour. You drove that car as well.
Yep.
So, great. Yeah, we've had all sorts of put that in.
And that car is one of the cars that you've got some of the funniest, and interesting stories from owning a classic car with.
I think the thing with that car is it was just the driving experience was so different. So we took it to Bewley. So we live in Nottingham. We drove to Bewley. It took 2 days. I bought a trailer on the way home. And there was, just the anticipation that you have to have when you're driving a pre-war car. And there was a horse that sort of crossed the road in front of us and then crossed back. At any other time it would have been fine, but just because we were going so slowly and it took so long to stop, we very, very nearly hit the pony.
Which is a problem in the New Forest near Bewley. It's a big problem. And
it's interesting because you say that story and you think, oh well, we weren't going very fast and we were being very careful, but the style of driving requires so much more.
And you have to really think about, am I going to stop or am I going to make it past this horse? And when the horses are as unpredictable and unfazed by cars as they are in the New Forest,
yeah, you don't want cable brakes.
No.
That is not the one. Yeah.
So how long have you been coming to national weekends?
So the Morris Minor Owners Club National Rally has been a staple in my calendar since about 2014,
which is not long after you bought your first.
That's right, yeah. So it's and we always say the best thing you can do is join an owners club, especially if you want to meet people and as you've talked about a lot. There's so many young people that are engaged with Morris Minors and with the wider car community that joining a club is a no-brainer. And I don't know, I was that aware of that in 2014 when I came to my first one, and then here we are in 2022 and we've been involved in running the club, volunteering for a lot of the different things that we do as a club over the course of the calendar, and it's something we'll always come to, whether we're not here in a Morris Minor this weekend, we're here in a modern car and an MG, but nobody minds. You're sort of more popular because you've got something different, and as you get older you realise that you need more comfort, so you have to take the bigger airbed and you run out of room. And
well, a tent would be a squeeze in the midget with the three of you. Two humans and a dog, and a tent would have been too much.
The dog has
really
more stuff than I have. The least stuff between Beth and the dog, so just my occasional, I've got a book and a toothbrush, and that's I've been wearing these clothes for 4 days.
And a pair of short wellies.
They're excellent wellies, and I would highly recommend them to anybody looking to be a fashionista at a car show. Got them.
So what's been your highlight of this particular national weekend?
Well, this is the first national weekend since COVID in its normal form. So the club held picnics, as they called them, and they were sort of like one night camping and then a sort of small rally. But this is the first time we've had the displays. We've had our branch avenue where all the different local branches do a little display, and then condition class where you can just see 50 saloons, 50 convertibles,
all lined
all
up.
The travellers. And there's something really special about that, and I think that's what has been my highlight, is just seeing everybody come back together and do what we used to do, and it feels like it's been a long time.
And there were so many people that I met at the picnics who had bought cars during COVID, and then this has been their first big one, and they'd all really enjoyed the picnics and stuff last year, but they've come along and they've gone, oh wow.
Yeah, and you know, the little peculiarities of it. You know, there's the birds of prey and the dog racing team, and all the little random things that you just in a real life you wouldn't see. You know, like someone brought their pet hedgehog with them, and that's
we've had Nathaniel talking about his hedgehog.
That's the least weird thing to have happened at a national rally, and it's really nice. You make friends in car clubs that are car club friends, as you know, and you know, I know you've been doing it all of your life, and there are people that you have at car club friends that in real life you wouldn't be friends with these people.
You wouldn't even think of them in the street, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it really is nice to come back in the good weather and just catch up. You know, 10-15 minutes here and there with your different groups of people and see how people are, and that's where the magic of the club is, and like I said, it doesn't matter if you're in a Morris Minor or not. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's, you know, here to have a nice time. Yeah,
and I think everyone has, so that's been good.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for getting in the back seat of a Morris Minor.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here. I might stay here a bit longer.
It's comfy in the back.
I
have been told it's a
very good back seat. This, I have to say.
It's been vastly improved since I've got it. That's the biggest area I've ever worked on, to be honest.
You've probably had more people in the back of your Morris Minor, so to speak, than anybody I know, actually. So, you know, you need a bit of firm support.
Yeah, I try. But yeah, thank you very much, and happy motoring for the rest of the day.
You're welcome.
Okay, so as you can see, I'm now home in a car that's full and packed up with all my camping gear and things from the weekend. I hope you really enjoyed those 3 interviews with those 3 guys, and you've enjoyed hearing a little bit about what gets some young people into owning Morris Minors, what national weekends have been about for them, and perhaps you're interested in coming along next year, or if you're a young Morris Minor owner already and you're interested in hearing about some of the other events that the young owners are going to, then I'll be sure to kind of link the Instagram and everything for that all down below. But without any kind of further ado, thank you ever so much for listening. Drive safely and happy motoring.
Someone's calling me. That's a bit. Who is it that's calling me?
You and Tannoys.
Oh, it's Beth. Hang on. Me and Tannoys. Hello, Beth. Are you alright? I'm doing an interview at the moment for the Passenger Seat podcast, available from all good podcast players.